What do you think, buddy? The pink ones? Those look pretty good. Maybe we should do these blue ones. Oh, those are a little too close to your fur color, though. We need something to make you really pop. Maybe Kronkles. Yeah, you like those? Those are beautiful. Let's take a selfie, pal. Nailed it. That's a keeper. Hey everybody, it's Molly with All Ears. This is my assistant Kronk, and I am back today with another episode of our Q&A series. This video's topic, rides. You guys asked a lot of attraction questions. What's our favorite attractions? What are the best attractions for kids? What are the best attractions for big families that everybody can go on? And I'm gonna answer all of those right now. Ooh, that is a tough question, and since this video is all about just rides, it doesn't have any shows or characters or anything like that, rides only, Magic Kingdom, I would say Big Thunder Mountain or Space Mountain. Epcot, I would say Soarin'. Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance. And Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest. My least favorite rides in each park, that is a lot harder. And please don't yell at me if I say an attraction that you love. They're just not my personal favorites. In Magic Kingdom, it's probably Magic Carpets of Aladdin, just because it's the exact same thing as Dumbo, and Dumbo's the classic, and I prefer Dumbo to Magic Carpets of Aladdin. I would say in Epcot, it's Journey into Imagination with Figment. I'm sorry, Figment fans. I know the previous version of this attraction was much cooler, but yeah, I just don't love it, especially that part with the skunk. Not my fave. In Hollywood Studios, that's really hard because there are so many amazing attractions and so many great rides there, but I would say Tower of Terror. Just kidding. I would say the Alien Swirling Saucers. I do think that ride's fun, and if it doesn't have a long wait, why not? But it's just, like I said, there's so many great attractions there. Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, Slinky Dog, Millennium Falcon, Rise of the Resistance. Like, somebody has to be last, and it's you, Alien Swirling Saucers. And probably as a surprise to no one at Animal Kingdom, it's Cali River Rapids. I don't love getting wet, and you generally get soaked on that attraction. So that's one I think is my least favorite there. So I'm sorry, attractions. I love all of you, but one forced to choose. In addition to the ones I just said, I would add Kilimanjaro Safaris, Toy Story Mania, Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan's Flight, and either Dinosaur or Slinky Dog Dash. So there's 11. Great question. I got a lot of different variations of this question, like what can I ride with my grandparents? What are the smallest and the teenagers going to all enjoy together? So I would say Kilimanjaro Safaris at Animal Kingdom, definitely one the whole family can enjoy. Who doesn't want to go see lions and elephants and giraffes? Oh my. So that's one everybody can do. You've got a bunch of great things at Magic Kingdom, like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's still a little more thrilling and not as kiddie as some of the Fantasyland rides. So your teenagers are going to like it, your grandparents will like it, and your little ones will like it because they get to go on a boat. Though it did scare me when I was really little, but that's beyond the point. A couple others that everybody in the family is going to enjoy. Over at Epcot, you've got things like Frozen Ever After. I don't care who you are. That is a great song, and that is a great attraction. You've probably seen Frozen, so that's a good one. And at Hollywood Studios, Toy Story Mania, it's that shooting game. It's a lot of fun, and everybody can enjoy it. Your teenagers are going to like being able to compete against one another. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, another option on that list. And then the brand new Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That is a family attraction at Hollywood Studios, and it's got a little more bite. It's a little more thrilling than a classic thrill ride, but yet even the little ones can enjoy it. So that's another good one too. fun question. Let me think about it. As far as technology goes, there are none cooler than the Shaman of Song in Navi River Journey and Hondo at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Those two are so incredibly technologically advanced that I have literally waved at both of them, even though they are not real. I would also say, like, from a personal standpoint, who doesn't love the foxy scientist in Spaceship Earth with the afro? So gotta give a shout out to her. I also have always loved the, like, kind of drunk hippo in It's a Small World whose eyes don't blink at the same time. He's a fun one, as well as the tiger holding the umbrella in It's a Small World. Yeah, those are some of my favorites. Obviously, my least favorite is the giant Ursula in Under the Sea. That is another great question. I actually did a video where I did all of the opening day attractions in Magic Kingdom, and there are more than you think. There are a ton. So I would say of those, the must-do's would be Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Peter Pan's Flight, Teacups, Dumbo. So there's 6 really great opening day attractions that are still classics today. A great first attraction for a little one is one of those classics like Dumbo or It's a Small World. Those Teacups even, those are just like the quintessential Disney attractions and a perfect way to start the day with a little one. As far as Epcot goes, maybe Frozen Ever After or The Seas with Nemo and Friends, because they'll enjoy looking at the fish. Over at Hollywood Studios, as far as rides go, you don't have a ton of options, so I would say Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway would be the best option there. And at Animal Kingdom, Kilimanjaro Safaris. Gotta love all those real animals, and your kids will like looking at them too. The best coaster to start anybody out on is the Barnstormer. It is in Magic Kingdom in Storybook Circus, and it's only like 90 seconds long. It's not super fast. It's themed after Goofy being a stuntman. So that's the best one to get anybody to go on, especially if they're younger than 8, because it's like by the time they have a chance to realize what's happening, it's over. But if your kid's a little bit older, like the 8-year-old, if he likes that, then I would maybe check out the next level up, I guess, would be like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, especially in the front cars. Those are less intense, and Slinky Dog Dash. And then if they like those attractions, then you can go to some of the bigger ones like Space Mountain. That one may stress kids out because it's in the dark, so try some of those other ones first. Rock and Roller Coaster if they're tall enough, and Expedition Everest, those are like the biggest roller coasters. So it's kind of a tiered approach. Ooh. No matter what your age, when you are at Magic Kingdom, you have got to ride Dumbo. It's like legally required that you do. As well as Peter Pan's Flight, It's a Small World. If they're tall enough, you got to hit the classic mountains, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And if you're able to, also Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Plus Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are all quintessential Disney attractions. At Epcot, I would say the number one must-do, in my opinion, is Soarin'. I think that's such a fun attraction. Anybody that's tall enough to ride it loves it, from the youngest to the oldest, and it's just such a cool attraction. Make sure you request a seat in B1. That's the row you want to go to. So for me, Soarin' would be the answer there. Spaceship Earth, if it's open. That's another good one at Epcot. Over at Hollywood Studios, if they are a thrill seeker, then I would definitely recommend Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster. I also think Toy Story Mania is a great attraction everybody should go on if you can get on Slinky Dog. And then, of course, if you can get on Rise of the Resistance, that's a big one. And if you can get on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. There's a lot of really good stuff at Hollywood Studios. And at Animal Kingdom, I would say the must-do rides are Kilimanjaro Safaris, Flight of Passage if you can get on it, and Expedition Everest. I do get motion sick, but I have ridden every Walt Disney World ride on camera, so you could successfully ride anything. If you are very prone to motion sickness, for me, any like physical moving attraction isn't a problem. For me, the issue is when you have a screen and a simulator style attraction. The attractions that make me the most nauseous are Mission Space on the orange side specifically, and Star Tours. I don't know what it is about Star Tours, but that one really gets me. It's just like you're shaking everywhere, and the 3D goggles do not help. Speaking of, if you're ever on an attraction that's in 3D and you're getting nauseous, I find taking off the glasses does assist a little bit with that. So yeah, if you are prone to motion sickness, I'd be wary of Mission Space, Star Tours, Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and Flight of Passage. That said, I've ridden Flight of Passage many, many times, and I don't have any issue with motion sickness for the most part. Maybe if I'd like just eaten a big meal and went on it, I might get a little queasy, but usually I'm fine. I think the fact that you've got air blowing on you the whole time is very helpful, and truthfully, that attraction's very, very awesome, and even if you're prone to motion sickness, I kind of recommend trying it anyway because it's worth it. So maybe just have a ginger ale on standby and don't eat right before you ride it. Those would be my suggestions. But my mom gets super motion sickness on a lot of things. Like, she won't even go on Star Tours, and she rode Flight of Passage without any issue, so... Ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That is a bonkers attraction that they still have at Disneyland, and I do love it there, but that is a pretty bananas attraction. I wish they would bring it back to the Magic Kingdom. Also, this one's not a ride necessarily, but Captain EO was one of my favorite things ever at Disney, so I wish they would bring that back to Epcot. That is a very fun question. I would say number one, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I think it's going to have an amazing soundtrack, just like the films do. And they're pioneering some brand new technology, like the cars actually spin all the way around. It's going to have a reverse launch. So it's going to be, I think, super thrilling, super fun, awesome soundtrack, cool technology. It's going to be like the best of the best as far as thrill rides go. Number two, I think I would actually put Ratatouille, a squeak, pun intended, above Tron, because I love the film Ratatouille. I think the trackless ride vehicles are really cool, and everyone I know that's ridden it over in France says it's awesome, so probably Ratatouille, and then Tron in third, solely because I've never seen Tron, so like the theming does nothing for me, but I have seen videos of it over in Shanghai. It looks really cool. I think it'll be a great thrill addition over to Magic Kingdom, so I'm sure it'll be amazing and it'll be awesome, but that's my order for upcoming attractions. Ooh. I would say one of my favorites is Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, TM. The story of Expedition Everest, if you're unfamiliar, is that the local village of Circazong used to send tea trains up this mountain to make deliveries because they were a lot of tea farmers there, and tea trains would never come back and people would mysteriously go missing. So the villagers started a shrine that you can actually see outside of Expedition Everest to pay homage to the monster in the mountain, and they stopped going into the mountain. However, a gentleman decided he could make a business out of this, so he decided to do an exploration trail, and he would take hikers up the mountain, and he bought the tea trains, which is why that's why the ride vehicles look the way that they do. So when you go through FastPass, you've already paid, so you don't have to go through the booking office, but when you have not paid already, you go through the standby queue, and that's why when it weaves you through, you go into the booking office, you're getting your ticket, you're getting your gear, and then you're ready to hike the Forbidden Mountain. But beware, because the monster's still there. So I would say, as far as like Disney made up story, that's probably one of my favorites. As far as like actual history story behind a Disney attraction, I really like the story behind the Haunted Mansion. It was an idea that Walt had long before it actually existed, but the problem was, how do you do an attraction about death at the happiest place on earth? So the Haunted Mansion building at Disneyland actually sat empty for many, many years with a sign on the outside saying they were recruiting ghosts from around the world and they could inquire within. And eventually they finally figured out how they were going to do the attraction. They thought about a wax museum first, and then some technology they developed for the 1964-65 New York's World's Fair was the predecessor to the Omnimover style attraction, which is what Haunted Mansion is, or Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, or Finding Nemo, which is where the cars continuously move and then you get in the vehicle. And then that way they can turn the cars to look at whatever they want to show you, so that you follow along with the story. And so they figured out how they were going to do the attraction, but they weren't sure what the theme was still at this point. And there were two lead Imagineers. One was named Claude Coates. He was like a little bit of a weirdo, and he was a little bit more into dark things, a little bit more into horror. He had been a background artist for Disney, and he was like, let's make a legitimately scary haunted mansion with a bunch of ghosts and things jumping out at you. And then there was Mark Davis, another legendary animator, and he was like, no, let's make it funny, let's make it lighthearted, let's make it goofy and silly. And the two of them went back and forth, scary, funny. And the legend is that they both had their designs for what they wanted the Haunted Mansion to be like. Everybody else was sick of them bickering, so they shoved them together and were like, we're going to give you half the mansion and you half the mansion. So that's why the beginning of the Haunted Mansion, that's Claude Coates, that's the stretch room, that's the library scene, that's the guy coming out of the coffin. That's all spooky, scary Claude Coates' mansion. But then when you enter the graveyard and you've got the grim grinning ghosts and you've got the singing and the hitchhiking ghosts and all the fun whimsy, that's the Mark Davis half of the mansion. And they decided to put Mark second, so that way any little ones who were scared by the beginning, hopefully were having such a good time by the end, that they would forget about that. So that's my favorite history backstory behind a Disney attraction. Ooh, this is another fun one. It's kind of hard on some attractions to know when the photo op is, so those end up always being the funniest pictures. Like, a lot of people don't realize they're taking your picture until it's too late on Frozen Ever After or Pirates of the Caribbean. Both of those are right when you go down the slope. I would say the most fun ones to pose on would be Dinosaur, because it's right when the big dinosaur is growling at you. So if you can do something funny, like pretend you're sleeping or like bored with the dinosaur, that's always very fun. Space Mountain is another good one, because it ends up being a very good photo of the three people in the rocket. So ask the cast member which side it's on. It's going to be left or right, depending on which side of the track you get on. And I like to do like some nice JCPenney style catalog poses, like some of these, some yearbook photo poses. Those are some of my favorite ones. Splash is great as well, especially if you happen to have enough people to fill the log. You can do some fun things on Splash just as you're going over the big drop. I'm trying to think who some of my favorite characters are that aren't represented in the parks. For a long time, there was a rumor that they were going to do a roller coaster after Monsters, Inc., where it would be like the Doors, and I think that'd be really cool. But as I was saying that, I just realized that it should be themed after Kronk and Yzma, when Yzma pulls the wrong lever and then they go down the roller coaster, and I think that is the best answer. And safe to say, my dog Kronk would agree. All right, that's enough. Most underrated rides in Disney World? Ooh, let's think. Park by park. I would say in Magic Kingdom, not everyone appreciates the People Mover for all of its glory and how relaxing it truly is. So I would say the People Mover or the carousel. Sometimes there's nothing better than a carousel, and it usually doesn't have that long of a wait. So I really enjoy that one. At Epcot, I really like the Seas with Nemo and Friends. It usually doesn't have a long line either, and a lot of folks don't go ride it if they don't have little kids, but I think it's adorable, and I like the sea base at the exit where you can go around and look at real fish, real sharks, real dolphins, and real manatees and stuff. So I do like the Seas with Nemo and Friends. At Hollywood Studios, there's not really any underrated attractions as far as the rides themselves go. They're all like big e-ticket style attractions, so there really isn't a ride there. And at Animal Kingdom, I don't think Dinosaur gets its due. I think a lot of people gloss over Dinosaur because you've got other big thrill rides like Expedition Everest and Flight of Passage, and people kind of forget about Dinosaur, but Dinosaur is legit. It's scary, it's dark, it's loud, it's thrilling, and it's an awesome attraction. So make sure you add Dinosaur onto your list. I've only been to the United States Disney parks, so I can't really speak to everything that they have over in Europe and Asia. So for fairness, I will say one from Disneyland, and that is the Indiana Jones Adventure. It is the same track, the same cars as Dinosaur, so it's like the Jeeps that have the hydraulics in them, but it's themed after Indiana Jones, and it is awesome. This may be an obvious answer, but I'm putting Coco in the Mexico Pavilion. I think Coco is a delightful film. It's got an adorable soundtrack, and I think they could spice up the Grand Fiesta Tour by making it Coco. They could have Un Poco Loco and Remember Me, and they could have Dante. Oh, it'd be so cute. So, yeah, Coco in Mexico. All right, 2 queue-related questions. I'll answer the second half of that first. Flight of Passage does have a mid-queue restroom that you can use. You kind of have to try and catch up to your party, or just accept the fact that a few people are going to get in front of you while you're using it. But yes, there is a mid-queue restroom there. Additionally, if you ask on Rise of the Resistance, they can possibly give you a bathroom tag, and you'll have to go, or they may escort you to a bathroom, depending on how the queue's going at Rise of the Resistance. So those are the only 2 that I know of off the top of my head. Every other attraction's kind of just sorry, if you have to leave, you're probably not getting back into where your family is. But the best queues, the ones I would go in if I had to skip Fast Pass. Of course, it all depends on how long the line is. If it's an hour-long line and I have a Fast Pass for it, there's not a single queue, no matter how good it is, that I'm going to stand in line for that long for. But if there wasn't a long line, or I didn't have a Fast Pass, like I said, Expedition Everest has an excellent queue. It's incredibly detailed. It's super, super cool. I notice new things in there every single time. Toy Story Mania has a great queue because there is the giant animatronic Mr. Potato Head, and he talks to members of the audience. It's really neat. Dumbo has a very cool queue, especially if you're someone that's got little kids. It's actually themed to be like a circus tent, and it's a play area. So you get in there, they give you a pager like at a restaurant. Your kids get to run around, play, enjoy the circus playground. You get to sit down, enjoy some air conditioning. Then when your pager buzzes, it's time to ride. So that one's really cool as well. So yeah, some of the interactive queues are really fun. And worth walking through if there isn't a long line. I would say that's on Rise of the Resistance. There is no other attraction like it that completely immerses you into the experience quite like Rise. So the minute those doors open into the hangar and you see all of those stormtroopers, it is like jaw-dropping, amazing, chills just thinking about it right now. So I would say the most scared, thrilled, immersed I've ever felt has been on Rise, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and you're really there. You're really battling the First Order, and you'll feel like it. Yes. From personal experience, my mom has never seen a Star Wars movie, except for I think she saw the original trilogy when they came out, but she doesn't know any of the characters other than Darth Vader and Chewbacca. And we spent 3 days trying to get a boarding pass. We finally got one. And we walked off the attraction, and she asked if we could watch The Force Awakens when we got back to my house. So if that's not Disney magic, I don't know what is. It is such an immersive, incredible experience that if you're a Disney fan, if you're a theme park fan, if you're a ride fan, you need to try and get on this attraction. Obviously, it helps to be a Star Wars fan, but as long as you know, like, you're on the good team, they're the bad team, you're going to enjoy it. So yes, I do think you should try and ride it. And as a note, we got a bunch of Rise of the Resistance questions about getting boarding groups and things like that. And so I didn't want to add those in here. However, I have covered that in several other videos. I did a Details of Galaxy's Edge video where I did it. I did a Best Day Ever at Hollywood Studios. Both those videos, I get boarding passes and talk about my best tips and tricks. And if you want to know more about the attraction itself, I have a whole video about Rise of the Resistance. So it's an amazing attraction. Anyone that's able to should definitely try and ride it.
This does not look good.
You can take a small bag or backpack on any attraction. I take that small Loungefly bag I have. My tip is it won't always fit into like the pouch in the ride vehicles. So I will stick it on the ground and stick one or both of my feet through one of the straps. So that way it is secured around my leg. Things that you're not able to take on a Disney ride, Stealthy sticks aren't even allowed in the Disney World theme parks, so you definitely can't take it on a ride. And some attractions like Rock and Roller Coaster, they won't let you hold anything in your hands, which is why you'll never see me filming on Rock and Roller Coaster, because I can't even hold my phone in my hands, but I just shove it in my backpack. So you may be asking this because at Universal Studios, a lot of the attractions require you to put your things in a locker before you even get in the queue, but that's not the case at Disney. You can bring everything with you, and again, in the pouch in front of you, or stow it on the floor and stick your leg through the loop. Splash Mountain, good question. If you want to get the most wet, front row, of course. Least wet, back row, but least wet, left side back row. Because one thing people don't think about on Splash Mountain is everybody knows you're going to get wet on the big drop, but the other times you're going to get the wettest are right when the attraction actually starts and you loop around the briar patch and other logs are going down the drop. If the timing is correct, that giant splash from their log is going to hit your log, and it's going to hit the right side harder than the left side. Additionally, after the big drop, you go by a waterfall, and it's again on the right-hand side. So the person on the right is going to get the most wet versus the person on the left. So back row, left side is your best bet, but sometimes that doesn't matter, and you're going to get wet no matter what. The ride just started, so this is going well. I would say definitely a toss-up. I mean, Haunted Mansion, classic, the Butler and Mansion Maids, those are super fun. All of the Mansion Maids have a bat on their headpiece, and if you ask them, they will have a name for their bat, and they may also have a long story about why their bat is named that, so that's a little bit fun. Tower of Terror, same thing. They've got the Bellhop Ensemble. What's kind of fun about both of those is that they get to be in the persona of that attraction, as opposed to like a happy, friendly, smiling Disney cast member. They get to be a little bit meaner, a little bit spookier, and that makes that really fun. The whole area of Galaxy's Edge has really great costumes, particularly those on Rise of the Resistance, because you're going to possibly run into some folks that are from a particular group of people that may have some particularly spooky costumes, so don't want to spoil anything on that attraction. So yeah, Rise of the Resistance has some great costumes. Aw, that's a really sweet question, and one I did not know the answer to until I called my mom earlier today, and she let me know that it was either the Mad Tea Party, the teacups, or Dumbo. So 2 classic quintessential attractions, and I think those are good first ones. So I'm glad that there are things that are still there, and I'm still recommending you take your kids on first. Well, that's it for this episode of our Q&A series. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a lot about the Disney World rides. Kronk's done. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially right now. Thank you for following along. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram at AllEars.net. And until next time, guys, I'm Molly, and it's been magical.
Want to see more of my videos? Click over here. Want to subscribe? You can do that right here. And also, ring that notification bell to make sure you get instantly notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for following. See you real soon.